Episode 1. Yuji, a tamer with slimes around him to help him out of his duty as an adventurer, goes on an adventure to bring dry flowers when he confronts a monster and defeats it with his fire-breathing slimes. An adventurer, Gale, sees a slime breathing fire. He knows it's impossible, so when he returns to the guild, he tells his fellow adventurers about what he has seen. They all laugh at him and the impossibility of what he has seen. He insists he can't make a mistake without something like that, and he is sure of what he has seen. One of them tells him he probably forgot to switch off his campfire, and the monster mistakenly entered it. There is certainly no way a slime can breathe fire. At about the same time, Yuji enters with one of his slimes. The guild attendant assumes he couldn't finish his mission and tells him it's no big deal for an adventurer to reject a mission he can't finish, but he tells her he finished it and brings out the flowers for her. She is so shocked that she calls the guild leader, Aegis, to see the dry flowers Yuji has bought despite how rare the flower is. As Yuji is about to tell Aegis about the monster he faced, another adventurer comes with the scary news of the monsters. Aegis admits that they are overwhelmed and can defeat the monsters, so they should run away, but Yuji brings out a dragon bone from his slime's mouth and tells them he can call fire. Gale believes him immediately and they allow him to save them. He works with the adventurers and defeats the monster demon. One of his slimes kills the man responsible for the attack, and Aegis sees some occult instrument that makes him find out it's the work of a cult they have heard about. Yuji passes out during the attack, and later he remembers his former life. He leaves with his slimes and continues to a new city. Episode 2. He leaves with his wolf and slices to another city named Kilia, and goes to their guild, where he meets a team of Rhodus, the dagger expert, Tina the archer, and Lisa the lancer. They find out he has tracking ability, and they ask him to join them. He joins them and they go on their first mission. After the mission, the girls ask him how he got his tracking ability, but he tells them he didn't learn it. That night, he remembers when he found himself in the city. After falling asleep at work in the office, he sees some slimes and he walks into a building. He figures he can understand everything the slimes are reading. It's been 2 weeks since then, and he has been exploring their lifestyle. They notice they can't find Rhodus, and he sends his slime and finds out Rhodus plans to kidnap and fight them. He fights and kills a bandit with a bounty on his head and finds out the cult Rhodus works for. The Blue Moon of Salvation is the same cult that attacked his former village. Episode 3. They continue their journey until they see a blue dragon. As the dragon comes, the sky changes color. They hide in the rock, and a rock dragon emerges. His slimes destroy the dragon. At the guild, the leader, Rayard, sees the blue sky is a prophecy come true, and the world will soon be destroyed. After defeating the rock dragon, the early dragon emerges again and Yuji defeats it. They take the bones of the earth dragon to the guild and they take their reward. He is called to a meeting with Rayard and the cathedral representative, Stale. In their meeting, he finds out they arrived to destroy the continent 30 years ago, but they called an emissary to defeat it, and it was prophesied it would come back. A week ago, they attempted to call the emissary from the church, but he didn't come. However, they decide to fight the dragon themselves. After the meeting, Stale gives Yuji a dagger, which he says the Holy Spirit asked him to gift him. That night, Yuji thinks of the number of lives lost at the battle. Episode 4. He leaves the next day to destroy the dragon. He uses the knife and also protects his slime. He kills the dragon, and even Rayard doesn't know he is the one. After the fight, he meets with Tina and Lisa and tells them he wants to leave that city. They tell him to visit Ricardo and says there isn't much fight there. As he leaves Dryad a human weapon, he saved what he went for the Dryad flowers, tells him there is a mushroom that comes out from where a dragon died, and the one from where he killed the last dragon is there. She takes it and helps him to make a powerful portion. She calls the dragon Grace, and she gives it to him. He continues his journey until he gets to a city. However, the village member says they aren't used to visitors, so he attempts to leave. They tell him their village is Messias. As he leaves, the chief then attended to him tells an unknown man they will get the dragon Grace for him. Yuji gets to Ricardo, but snows now cover the village. Episode 5. He returns a restaurant to eat and finds out they can cook because they aren't prepared for the cold, and they have used all the firewood to warm up. He helps with firewood for them to cook and take on several adventures to find firewood. The restaurant owner cooks for him, although he says that's not his best meal because monsters have destroyed the material for his best meal in the forest. Yuji and his slime go to find the monsters and he finds a magical ball, which he figures to be a dragon Grace sucking all the magic around and causing the snow. He finds other stones and he opens the door to an unknown place. Episode 6. They pass the link and find a mechanical building. They tail the workers until they see their report to the man he met in that unfriendly village. He finds out they work for the cult, and they are the ones using the powers drained by the dragon grace to build their curse well, which has stopped working when Yuji destroyed the forest. They attempt to fight Yuji, but he overpowers them, but can't kill them, because their death will activate a destructive power that will destroy every city. Despite that, they kill themselves and activate flames. He curbs it. And the snow at Ricardo stops. He returns to Ricardo and they celebrate. That night he finds a text of the list of the cult's targets, which includes his name. Episode 7. 2 assassins pick his name as their next target, and as he moves to another village named Bulginia, the assassins tail him. He notices them and doesn't want to kill them because he will be at more risk, so he gets to Bulginia and pretends to be weak. His pretense pays off and the assassins decide he isn't a threat. Then returns to their master, who tells them Messias has been destroyed and their next target is Father Stain. To stop the assassins, Yuji freezes them. He goes to the village to buy armor for his slimes from Geigel, who agrees to help but tells him there is a problem. Episode 8. He says he will need gems for the blue lesser fire dragon. Yuji takes a request to go to the volcano and find the blue dragons. On his way, he tames more slices, and they defeat several dragons and bring back their gems. He takes them to Geigel, who helps him with armor for his slimes, increasing their strength. He, however, tells them they can't overpower it because they are too powerful, and if they want armor more potent than that, they need a gem from the fire dragon who doesn't leave the mountain at all. At about the same time, the lesser dragons start running crazy by a spell that forces the red dragon out of his mountain. Episode 9. He discovers 2 cult members who caused the attack. He captures them, but they commit suicide. Then he goes to face the red dragon, who is so strong that every villager leaves the village. He defeats it and takes its jewel to Geigel, who promises to make the armor stronger. Then he goes to the guild to show them the machine he got from the cultists. He finds out it's an artificial water maker, which all guilds own, and he wonders which guild owns that one and remembers he heard the name Ordarian from the cult members. Episode 10. He leaves for the Ordarian guild, where he finds out that Walter the guild is a cult member. He meets Stale, who tells him they believe he is the divine emissary sent to them and that it's his responsibility to kill Walter. He admits that he created the cult with Walter from the church. Meanwhile, Walter also believes he should kill Stale to make the emissary's mission successful. Stale meets Walter to die so Yuji's mission can be successful, but his assistant betrays him. Before they kill him, Yuji arrives. Episode 11. He fights Walter, who infuses himself with grace and becomes a dragon. He eventually defeats Walter. Then a man appears. Stale confesses that the last part of the prophecy says that, with the leader's death, Sage shall appear. He finds out the prophecy is about Walter, and Sage is the emissary sent 30 years ago. Yuji fights against Sage, but Sage has the same powers as he does. Sage begins the cult's salvation of the world and activates rainmakers to infect the monsters. Episode 12. The monsters start attacking every village, and Sage insists he will cause salvation by defeating everyone, but Yuji is hell-bent on saving the world. Using the dagger, he kills Sage, and everything returns to normal. As people celebrate, he silently walks away. He also finds out the cultists haven't given up on their salvation mission. He goes to the guild to deliver a mission report, but meets Meggy, the guild leader, who tells him he is now popular with his wars, and that he can't pretend not to be powerful again. Thanks for watching our video. If you want us to recap the next season, let us know in the comments section.